Hi, this is Brad with Caldwell's Roofing, and in this video we are going to show you how to curve metal panels to get a profile such as you see here. And basically we just start with the panels, put them through a curver, apply mastic, and seam them together after they're all installed. And we used 1/2 inch plywood around the edge before installing the drip edge and 1/2 inch thermal spacers wherever we were going to put clips.
We're fixing to run some test panels through here to try to get the curvature correct for that cardboard trace out.
By the way, we rented that machine there for $1,200 for a small roof. Alright, he is spinning the wheel down to compress the panel from top to bottom to help hold it in place so it doesn't go haywire once it starts bending it.
Alright, so give me a hand to get the knees in. You're ready to grab the panel because it comes out over there.
Alright, that handle there locks it in, and then the machine takes a few seconds here to further cinch down on the panel from top to bottom. So I have to put a lot of force onto it to bend it. Oh, by the way, you can see the white on the lower wheel. That was an accident because this little test panel had mastic in the rib. It's coming off on the wheel. So basically when you put panels through this thing, you want the mastic to be left off from the factory, and then after you run it through the machine here, then you take a very small bead of roll mastic and self-apply it before you install the panel. We clean that mastic off after it went through. And he should not have had his hands up in there. There's no need for that.
The outer wheel and the long wheel pulls those clips in place, and then the tube that presses it in there gets a good impression before it starts running.
Okay, this is a full 28-foot panel here. The radius on this was 34 feet, I believe. See, there's no mastic, so it's not messing with the room here.
We got these long panels without mastic so that it can go through the curver machine without getting mastic on it. But then we got to go back after the fact. We got to take this little itsy bitsy bead of mastic, shove it right up under this lip. Usually that gets factory applied, but we're putting it on ourselves before we put the next panel on here and seam that joint. Alright, we got to this last panel and we are bending it around the edge. There's a drip edge underneath. We just let it overhang 2-inch past, and we set the Wuko bender, which is that silver thing, at 1.5 inch depth. And we are bending it over. That one there goes from 0 degrees to 90 degrees. Theoretically, all this metal here is 24 gauge, so it's a lot thicker than the 26 snap lock. 26 gauge snap lock or the 29 gauge low rib through fastened metal systems. So it's pretty tough to do it. We're having to spend a decent bit of time. John's also taken the padded bendy, we call it padded bendy, and just squeezing it where it's already got a little bit of a bend and pulling it over. We're also using that padded hammer to just beat on it. I've got one little section done over here. I've still got to take the robot and do our stage 2 fold. Bottom's been folded around once where the clips are with a hand tool, but the robot's going to come fold this lip underneath. It's going to fold it underneath, and it's going to take this whole thing and fold it over so it gets a good double lock all the way.
Here's such a robot in use on another job we were doing. You can see those spots where we did stage 1 where there were clips, which takes it from 90 to 180, and then the robot takes everything to 270 to a double lock.
Alright, this next panel that we're about to stick on, you can see at the bottom, John has already prepped it. He cut off about like an inch off the 2 vertical ribs and bent that bottom around, so it's going to cap right onto the drip edge up there. So we'll go ahead and stick this piece on, get it most of the way in place, and then I just got to come down low enough to get this lip on there and then push it back up. And then once it's good, take this clamp. Alright, so now we're just taking these clips, placing them where the thermal spacers are. Since we got a wood deck, they said to just use these flathead pancake screws. So that's what we're doing. We'll just take 2 of those. Let's take these pancake screws. We get this thing nice and plumb with this. We don't want it hanging out like that. We don't want it cramming in where it bulges this up and puts too much oil canning into it. So just like that. And I'm just angling the screw just slightly, just so that top of the drill doesn't hit the leg of the panel and have trouble. You want to pop this one in? This one, since there's a little out of square, we put a clamp on the bottom, and we're leaving the clamp off on the top. Sometimes your panels will get just a wee bit out of module. What we're doing here is spraying some adhesive, and now we're going to be putting these thermal spacers down. It raises the panels up a 1/2 inch. It's just the way this particular profile does it. This is called Maxima ADV 2-inch by McElroy Metal. Yeah, these clips, they are designed to go all the way down to the decking, and then the panel sits a 1/2 inch up. So if you try to not use the spacers, these clips will be a little bit too high. Plus the thermal spacers help with chattering, wind chattering, with the panel flapping up and down, and it's also some insulation value and probably reduces oil canning, they say. We already got a strip of plywood that we put underneath the strip edge, so we don't need one at the bottom. Clamp it together at the bottom and the top, hold it nice and tight. Alright, Antonio up there is running the stage 1 hand seamer. You can just do this stage 1 at the top, bottom, and where the clips are, and then do stage 2 at the top and bottom for about 1 foot, and then run a robot up the rest of the way. But these runs here are so short, it's like, nah, let's just go ahead and do the whole thing by hand. It looks a little better when you do it with the robot, but this is the second story, and it's really, it come down a little lower on that one. It didn't quite get the bottom. A little lower, a little lower. There you go. Good. Yeah, stage 1, you can see it starts off like that profile right there, and that 45 leg of the one panel gets bent around. And when we do stage 2, that whole thing there is going to fold down. And I can show you over here what it looks like once it's totally done. Of course, like I said, it's a little bit ugly close up, but you can see right there how it curves around over. Got to get the leg over on this side. It's got to be straight up and down. If it's angled like this way, then it'll kind of booger up the rib. This is a stage 2 tool where it bends it down to a double lock.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video.